Are you into Stranger Things? Well, in this video, I'm going to be recommending some books that hit the vibe of Stranger. I'm talking about that retro 80s sci-fi vibe that so many people fell in love with over the course of Stranger Things' insanely long 10-year run. With the series wrapping up and no more Stranger Things in the pipeline, I'm sure that you're going to be looking to scratch that same sort of itch. So in this video, I'm going to be recommending 3 books that I think could do that for you. Okay, so to start here, Stranger Things isn't just a television series. It's kind of a vibe. The series itself captures this sort of 80s nostalgia, and it combines it with this creepy sci-fi vibe that is really hit upon in a number of works of prior fiction. The reference points for Stranger Things are extensive. Obviously Dungeons & Dragons, obviously a lot of Stephen King 80s horror, obviously there are Star Wars references in the final season, as the Duffer Brothers would tell you in their own interviews. So in this short video, I'm going to recommend you a couple of books that I think were either reference points for Stranger Things or that used Stranger Things as a reference point in their writing. In this video, I'm going to be including a brief summary of the plot, as well as why I recommend this book. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. First off on my list, My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Now, if you look up anywhere, what is a book that kind of captures the Stranger Things vibe? This book's going to be at the top of the list, and for good reason. Let's start with the plot. This book's set in 1988. It's a coming-of-age horror story about 2 best friends whose bond is tested when one of them becomes possessed by a demonic force after a fateful night at a lake. What starts as sort of this teenage adventure story about insecurity becomes surreal, a battle for the soul, heavily influenced by Stranger Things. I mean, look at the cover here. You can see that they're going for this sort of 80s centric small town vibe. And the reason that I recommend this book is that it is as good of a capturing of that same sort of 80s nostalgia, small town horror vibe as has come out since the series Stranger Things first started. There is the authentic period details, there is the teen friendship dynamics that really just feel real, feel lived in. Sometimes the teen drama stuff does not sit well with me, and I think a lot of other people, and you can feel that trying to be Stranger Things energy, and that's not something you feel here. It feels really real, it feels really lived in. Also, it's pretty creepy, just a successfully creepy book. Not a lot of books in this genre actually nail that element of it. So it is creepy, it nails that 80s nostalgia, and it is clearly being referenced. It is clearly building upon a lot of what made Stranger Things successful. So if you're looking for a book, it's not too long of a read. So if you're interested in a quick, easy read that hits a lot of the same vibes, check out My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Now we're going to swing all the way in the other direction. We went with a short read that's kind of a quicker, more cinematic piece. Now we're going to go with It by Stephen King. Now, many of you may be familiar with the films, so I'll try to keep the plot summary short here. It's a modern horror classic, and for good reason. It alternates between 2 time periods. The book focuses on a group of kids growing up in the small town of Derry, Maine. They're terrorized by a shape-shifting evil, often taking the form of Pennywise the Clown, which preys on their deepest fears and essentially eats children and eats adults. And as adults, these children return to town to try to kill this evil entity for good. It is a decade-spanning, massive monstrosity of a book. By my account, it's probably the best horror fiction ever written. I know some people may disagree with that, but for me, it is my favorite. There's a reason that it's lasted the test of time now. Recently, the series Welcome to Derry came out and was a massive success on HBO. The 2 movies that came out a few years ago by Andy Muschietti, also very good. So on top of being just an incredible read, there's a reason that it has stood the test of time and served as this massive bit of IP. It is a classic. It is as good as it gets. The relationships, the world itself feels real, and on top of that, it is scary as heck. As much as one of these books can be, this book really nails that element of it. Stephen King is a master of the genre. He's a master of the form, and this book is an incredible addition to your library, to your shelf, and is worth the trek. Now, it is long. It is a monstrosity, incredibly long, over 1,000 pages. So prepare yourself for that. But it is a quick read despite that, and it really is incredible to dive into the history of Derry, the history of what it has done to that town. So if you've seen the movies, maybe you've just been always interested in it, check it out, because clearly the relationship between the kids, the creepiness of the small town, is a direct influence on a lot of what goes on in Stranger Things. Now, my third and final recommendation for books that kind of hit that Stranger Things vibe is Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. In this book, 5 teenage boys living in a small town in Illinois discover this terrifying series of events unfolding in their local school as strange and horrifying forces sort of emerge, including monsters and undead people coming back. The kids band together to try to stop an ancient evil from coming to life. Now, why am I referencing this in reference to Stranger Things? Well, again, small town vibe, American small town nostalgia is really at the center of this story as well as the sort of coming of age friendships that are central to so many of these books, so many of these works of fiction. I think that Stranger Things really hits on an idea of small town friendships and the friendships you make when you're kids and how they feel so permanent and so powerful. And this book really nails that element of it as well. It's also a very quick read. It just reads very fast, a really well-written book. I'm a big fan of Dan Simmons, and I've read a couple of his other books as well, and I enjoy the way that he just puts these worlds together. So, to wrap up here, the 3 books I would recommend hitting, if you are somebody who likes Stranger Things and you're looking for more fiction in that kind of vein, then I would recommend 1, My Best Friend's Exorcism, 2, It by Stephen King, and 3, Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more book recommendations, more discussions of books. I'm going to be making more of these videos, so check us out at Dan Does Books. Thanks, bye now.